What's up, all you cool kids? This is Daisy Collins coming at you live from Las Vegas, Nevada. I am here to start on a new junk journal today. If you guys are new to my channel, I do post new junk journal related videos and content pretty much every single day. And I go live Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time doing junk journal related things. So if that's the type of thing that you're into, do hit that subscribe button and join us cool kids in some junk journal fun. Like I said, pretty much every single day. So today what we're going to be doing is we are going to be starting a new junk journal. This is junk journal number 37. What I'm going to change it to because I think all my numbers out of whack, but whatever. So we're here starting a new junk journal, and this journal is really, really old, you guys. I think this junk journal, I've Googled it, and this book right here on its own is worth about $50. But I'm going to cut it up and just, whatever. It is from like 1917. It's a really old book. Don't know what it's about, but we're going to cut it up. So, I've already tried to separate the cover from the spine, and it just ripped. It just ripped on me, so that it is what it is. I don't think the fabric ripped. No, the fabric did not rip. But the paper here did. That's okay too. So I'm trying to be nice and cut the spine off here. And this book is so old. This book is so old. I'm trying to be really careful with it. Okay. This book is really old. The glue is starting to come off, pretty much. That's how it is. This is a really old book. Okay, so now that we got the book cover here, what I am going to do is I'm going to get an envelope. This is a piece of a Tyvek envelope. Hi, Patricia. You could also use one of the mailing envelopes from the post office if you're in the US of A. If not, they have Tyvek envelope. That's Tyvek. Tyvek. I can't remember how to spell it. Tyvek. Tyvek. Yeah. Tyvek. You can get those mailing envelopes, or you can actually buy Tyvek envelopes, and they also have Tyvek tape, is what I'm told. So that's awesome. And basically what we're going to do is we are going to reinforce this spine with this envelope here. This is pretty much like a woven plastic almost type of fabric. It looks like fabric, but it feels like plastic. And what I'm going to do is I am going to cut it, pretty much trying to cut the size of the paper here that's on the cover. This space right here. It did not go all the way, but that's okay because I'm going to put some fabric on this as well, so that'll also protect it. So I'm going to use my Turbo Tacky glue, which is my favorite adhesive for this type of product, or for this type of project here. And let me get a nice surface that I can work with. And I like to use the pieces. They're called, it's from the Heat and Bond, which is actually the next step. Oops, sorry, that we're going to be doing. It's just a byproduct of the next step, basically. But we are going to get glue on this here piece of plastic here with Tyvek. Gonna get glue everywhere. Nice amount. And then I use a silicone brush to actually spread the glue down, because it's plastic on plastic. Even when it's paper on the silicone brush, it just glides right around, right where you need it to be, and nothing sticks to the brush. I used to use a sponge brush, and that was just terrible. I don't suggest a sponge brush at all. This is just my choice here. This is actually for your face. It's actually for you to spread a face mask on your face. Okay, so I'm going to just go over here to the side. And I am going to adhere this to the spine. And here, you could go in with your fingers. You could also go in with the bone folder. And actually get in here into these little grooves. Also works well with your fingers. Okay. So we've now made the spine a little bit stronger. Now, the next step, oh, that's cool how they use a piece of other paper, I guess, to make their little spine. That's cool. Okay, so now I need to make the spine. You see how this is like pretty much soft? It bends. Hi, Nancy. See how it bends right here? I don't like that. You can keep the journal like that, but I'm not into that look. So, this is our little piece of cereal box right here. Let me just make sure that it's the right size by trying to close it and making sure that it has no problems closing. Yeah, it has a little bit of a problem closing, so let me make it a little bit thinner. Let's see, how about now? Right there. Are we buffering? If you refresh, are we still buffering even if we refresh? Now I'm going to put the glue on the actual cereal box part. Is there a problem? Patricia, are you having a problem still? I hope not. I think it needs a little bit more glue. So this is going to be for the spine. Are we still buffering, you guys? I hope not. Just trying to stay within the confines of the paper. Okay. And like I said, you should be able to close the book and not have any problems. And now that gives us a nice stiff spine. So that is the cover prepped right there. And now we gotta do the inside. I'm going to leave the outside of the journal how it is right now. I might put a little, maybe some fabric right here. It is an old book, and I just want to make sure it stays together. So I might put fabric strips here. I'm not sure yet. But that is the inside of the book that is now reinforced. Now, the next thing I need to do is, like I said, I'm not going to do anything to the outside cover, so that's done. I've reinforced it. Now, what I'm going to do is work on the inside lining of the journal. And I think that for the outside colors of the book, I think that this piece of fabric here that I quilted is going to look fabulous, if you ask me. And I want to use part of this fabric piece right here. So let me go ahead and get this pre-cut. And I'm basically trying to make a rectangle the same size of this space right here as this brown paper. that is the space that I'm trying to cover. Just like I've done in my past journals, that's the space that I try and cover with this fabric piece. So let's try and do that here. I want to use as much of this piece of fabric right here as I can. I'm trying to see which is the part that I like the most. And I think I like this side though. This right here. Okay, this right here, and I want to use as much of this as I can. So let me get this cut out. And yes, this piece is going to be bigger than that piece that I actually need right now. I just cover the book up, and you could use whatever fabric. This could be one solid piece of fabric for you, and that would work fine. But for me, I decided to use this fun quilted string quilt fabric that I made. I have a video on how to do that. If you know how to do a basic straight stitch, you can make this type of fabric here for your journals. So I will I will put that link at the end. Okay, so here we go. That's the fabric that we have. Let's keep cutting it down to size. Well, actually, you know what I could do? Let me get my cutting mat. And this would be a lot easier with this. Okay, so hang on. Let me get my cutting mat. I gotta remember where I put it. Where did I put the cutting mat? It's been a while. Where did I put my cutting mat? It's so big. How could I lose it? Oh, here it is. Okay, I put it away. I'm telling you guys, I put stuff away and then I can't find it. I don't know. So let's just get this cut up to the size of the book, which is I've already a little bit too big than it actually needs to be. But I would rather have that. Oops, I don't mean to cut the book. Don't cut your book. Don't do that. No. Okay. This little piece. Come on. Okay. I didn't want to get close there. Okay. So now this is our piece of fabric. I think I need to get a new cutter, a new blade in there. Okay, so this is the piece of fabric that we're going to use on the inside of the book. Oops. Let's put my mat back. Okay. So now this is going to go in here on the inside. That's going to be our liner for it. And this is also where I sew in my signature. If you guys don't know how I make my books, I sew in my signature onto this piece of fabric right here. So I need to prep this fabric. I need to basically turn this piece of fabric into a piece of paper. So to do this, I need to get out my iron. I need to get out this stuff called heat and bond. And I need to get out my ironing mat. So here is my ironing mat. Here is my iron. Let me turn it on. Okay. Now the iron is turned on to the hottest setting. So when it heats up, let me get this stuff here. This stuff here is called heat and bond. And I need to cut a size of this heat and bond. This is heat and bond ultra hold. You'll know because it's red. Heat and bond ultra hold. And you can find this. Being a quilter, you are killing me cutting into your quilt tops, your journal. Yeah, I mean, I make this. I don't make this to be a quilt. I make this to be a journal, something to do with journals. So this is never I was never going to make this into a quilt ever. So I hope that makes you feel better. This would never have become a quilt ever, ever, ever. That is what it's for. For me, anyways. I don't quilt to make quilts. So now I'm cutting out a piece of the Heat and Bond Ultra Hold. Like I said, I get this at Walmart. It's next to all the sewing stuff. It's next to where all the needles are, next to where the buttons are, at the Walmart. At your local Walmart. Hello, Dana. And I'm using the red one because the Ultra Hold, because I don't plan on sewing on it itself. If you want to sew on your journal covers, you'll want to use the Heat and Bond, the purple one, Heat and Bond Light. So that's the difference between those two. So let me get this Heat and Bond. Wait, let me make sure I label this Ultra Hold so that way I know what this, because sometimes I do projects with these little scraps. You'll have scraps of this. So I make sure I keep them all together, all in one place and labeled. Okay, so now, now that I have my cover, I am going to get that, I guess not this because it's full of glue. That'll dry eventually. I'll still use it. We're going to use this piece of Heat and Bond. This is what's left over. So basically what this is iron-on adhesive. So it's going to put glue all on the back of our fabric here. Which, like I said, you could use whatever fabric you want. Does not have to be like this quilted material like I'm using. Could be just a regular piece of fabric. And let's get into this right here. I'm going to adhere the shiny part of the Heat and Bond to my fabric. And what you don't want to do is you don't want to move around your iron. You want to place it down and hold down the heat basically so that it melts that adhesive. And like I said, you don't want to move it around. You want to just let it set and let the heat melt that glue. And this is pretty much how I make all of the journals. Like I said, I actually don't do any pamphlet stitching. I actually sew my signatures onto this piece of fabric here, and then I glue that down to the cover. So that'll be the next steps. Probably tomorrow I need to get the signatures prepped. And then we'll move on with this video, this whole process. Now you don't want to slide the iron around because it actually moves your fabric around underneath. So you just want to hold up and then hold the iron. You want to hold the heat on and then pick it up and then move it along. And I'll go over it a couple times just to make sure that the glue is all nice and glued on all edges. I'm not using any steam, it's just heat. Again, making sure all the edges are glued on. Okay. So now I gotta let this piece cool down because it's actually really, really hot. So I'm actually gonna put it up against my fan to cool it down quickly, because it needs to cool down. And packing paper is basically thick tissue paper that is just gray colored. And I get this also at Walmart in the moving section where all the boxes and the packing peanuts and the bubble wraps are. And like I said, it's for when you want to cover like your dishes in off. This from what I just did that on. Okay, so now I'm going to peel off the fabric with the glue on it. And this right here is the pieces that I said is the byproduct. Why everybody's saying it's buffering? That's weird. Okay, so this is the byproduct that I told you that you'll be left with. You can use it a couple times to use as a background to paint on, to glue something on. You could use this a couple times before you toss it away. I actually save all of mine. And then as I go on with my, you'll always have this. If you make junk journals and you make them my way, hey, Robin, then you will always have back pieces of heat and bond. So make sure you save your pieces of heat and bond so that way you can do other projects. I mean, I feel like, well, no, it's not really the same thing as Tyvek. But like I said, it's really good to glue on, paint on, whatever you want to make a mess. It's good for that. So now you see that my fabric has this shiny part. That's the adhesive that got ironed on from the heat and bond. So now what I want to do is I want to lay my fabric right here onto this paper. And I'm going to use the back of this same piece here to actually help me iron it on. And I'm using this because there's little pieces of glue that are on the outside of the actual fabric, and I do not want that to glue onto my iron. You could do it directly right on. And right now it's not going to glide on, but you also don't want to, like I said, you don't want to hold the iron, move it along too much. And you definitely, on those pieces where there's glue, you definitely don't want to get that part on your iron. But you definitely want it all to be glued on. Can you adhere that directly to the cover without paper? I don't think you would be able to. Because there's these little creases, and I don't know how you would get on that. It would be too hot for your fingers to work in the creases. As well as I sew my signatures onto this, so I'm still not done with this piece. So I'm not ready to just adhere it on, and I can't, it's not good for my iron to iron on the glue. That's why I add the paper, so there's a barrier. But I've had that question before. I've never done that myself. But like I said, I would find it hard to get it into all these little cracks with my fingers. I guess I could do it with the little tool. But again, I'm not done with this yet. Also, the fact that if I were to do that, let me show you. So sometimes your fabric is not exactly thick. And if you can see, I don't know if you can see, but you can see the fabric through that. So that's also why I use this packing paper, so that it adds a layer of translucency so you can't see through the fabric. It's also another reason why I use this. You could use tissue paper, but I would have to paint. I would have to paint the book cover so that way you couldn't see through my fabric. So that's another step I'm avoiding by doing this process as well. But you are welcome to try it. I'm not brave enough. I am not brave enough. Okay, so now I'm all done. That's the sandwich that we're going to make. The fabric, heat and bond, and then packing paper. That's the sandwich you need to cook up. Okay, so now I have this, and it's glued onto the packing. So now I got to make this even, and I have to make it to, oops, I have to make it to the size of this cover. So yeah, that would be hard with the signatures, exactly. I couldn't do it in the middle. It would just be weird. I don't know. Okay, so let me get the proper cutter out here with some cardstock. I need some cardstock. Okay, here it is. Okay, so you could use your to get this to the size that it's supposed to be. However, I find that difficult for myself. So what I do, this is why I kind of cut it a little bit bigger than it's supposed to be. But in this case, it's kind of not bigger. Should have made it a little bit bigger. It is bigger, but not entirely bigger to the point where I feel like I can't make a mistake now that I'm looking at it. Definitely make your piece bigger than this, because now I feel like I have to make it perfect on the right on the first try. That's a little stressful, I'm not gonna lie. But here we go. We're trying to do this here the best we can here. Okay, I'm just gonna, I need to cut fabric so that it is even, but I'm also trying to cut off the smallest amount of fabric possible. This is actually also a rotary cut, and using the cardstock behind it, it makes this feel like a piece of paper instead of being a piece of fabric. So that's great. It helps me cut all the way down. This actually should use a new one because it's taller. And again, I'm actually trying to cut off the smallest amount of fabric possible, just to get this even for myself. Right, so this edge is even now. Okay, good. And make it smaller. I think that would be good. Okay, just trying to even it out. Like I said, this is a little bit stressful. Okay, so we're not bad. We're not bad yet. We're not bad yet. I would never have done it this bad, this close. Just because that kind of, like I said, stresses me out. I normally start with the bigger piece, and then I can cut down to make it even, and then I can cut it down to size. Because I like working with pieces that are even. Just trying to get an extra piece of cardstock here so it doesn't have a problem down at the bottom. Ooh, should have done this the other way. Wait, hang on. Yeah, that's not going to work. I like to do it the other way. Sorry. I prefer to have my cutter come be on this end, and then I pull it down. Just makes it a little bit easier for me to make sure I got the grip on it the whole way down. Okay, sorry about that. I have to do this again. Okay. Okay, we're all set. And we're ready to go. Okay, so this is our little piece of inside liner here that we still actually need to cut down a little bit more to size, because it has to be the same exact size as this beige paper here that you see. So let me get my pencil. And now, as you can see, you can't see the back of the fabric. Like, it doesn't look clear, so you can't see the book. So that's what I am actually looking for with this packing paper. Like I said, you could use tissue paper, but for me, this packing paper is where it's at. So let me get this measured up here. There's that one piece. Okay, there's a little piece here that's a little jagged, so I want to make sure that's the side that I cut down. So make sure everything's in place while I mark it. And then I also need to mark how long this is going to be. pretty close to the size of this already. But I'm going to cut it down just slightly. Okay. So now let's get it cut down even more to the actual size. Get my blade on that end. Don't want to forget that. Okay, so now we need to put it where it needs to be. And cut it off that much. And now this other side. And part down here. Oops, my cutter's not in the right spot. Gosh darn it. Hang on, let me tape these two pieces of paper because it's getting on my nerves how they're moving around. I kind of want them to act like one piece of paper. If possible, if that's even possible. Okay, so hey, I gotta make it into one piece of paper here. Just because this cut is pretty important here and I don't want to mess it up. There we go. So now it's like one piece of paper. One big piece of paper. Should have actually been even bigger. Okay, so here we go. Let me put this to where it should be now. Okay. All right. So now we got it. So now it's down to the size it needs to be. And we will be ready for the signatures that are to come. And it's going to have a little bit of into the groove, right? Just want to make sure this is going to be the right size and that it's not just slightly too big. It is just a tad bit too big, I believe. But I think it could be okay. No. Nope, it needs to be cut down just a little bit more. So give me 1 second. Ugh, these things happen. I need to cut it down just slightly, just literally ever so, just a sliver. Just a sliver off the top. I think that cut off more cardstock than it cut off fabric. Okay, 1 second. Okay. Right, I just need one piece now. Just need one now. Okay, so just a little bit. That should be good enough. Let's see. Okay, that's much better. Much better. Now you can see all the edges all the way around. Yay. Okay, so now the last step in this prep is I need to sew all the way around the edges here because these little pieces of fabric here kind of come unhinged a little bit. Let me see if I had like a dark red or something red. Dark maroon. What do I got? I don't think I have a dark maroon. I think I just have red. I guess red would go with this journal. Yeah, we could use a red. Okay, so let me use this red thread. And let me get the right bobbin. I wish I had a... No, I'm just going to use beige. I don't think it's enough red. I need a burgundy. I don't have burgundy thread. I just have red. So that's not the same. So you know what? Let's just use a cream. And I'm just going to sew basically a zigzag all the way around this border of the inside liner. For here, which is my zigzag. And like I said, this, I have experimented a lot with this heat and bond, and normally it's not actually good for you to sew on it. Literally, like it will not take stitches, basically. So what I'm doing is a zigzag stitch. It should be okay doing it. actually just lost the thread, so there's that whole omen. It's great. One momento. Okay. Then we're going to be done with this video. It's going to be a little bit of a short video. But it is important to do this whole prep of the cover before we get into the fun stuff of the signature, etc., like that. 1 second. Okay, we're in. Okay. So now let me try that again. Just a off the edge zigzag stitch, which is what I call it. Do it over here. So I've been able to find that I can do a zigzag stitch and a straight stitch on these covers, even with the Ultra Bond that says it's no sew. Still been able to get away with it. Get this other side here. And one more side before we're all done. Okay, and that is it for the cover, the inside cover. So now we have the cover that's prepped, and we have the inside liner for the actual journal that we're going to make here. And also, tomorrow we're going to come back and prep our signatures to be sewn into our cover here. So that's going to be tomorrow's video. And I want to show you guys these new printables I'm going to have in my store tonight. I made these new tickets, printable tickets. This set right here is black and white, and I just made them almost look like they were stamps. So I thought those are cool. And I cut these out my Scan and Cut. I printed them out on craft paper, so that's why they look like that. I also have a set with flowers. Again, these are not in my shop yet, but they will be soon, tonight. These are a set of tickets with flowers on them. You guys know I gotta do all my little flowers, but they look kind of like distressed, you know, really cute. And then I'm also gonna have a set of like shabby chic patterns almost. So I got these really awesome, really cute little shabby chic patterns that are on these set of tickets. That one's not right, but it's supposed to be a little bit more transparent like that. So thank you guys so much for joining me on my channel today. Again, I'll have these little tickets up for sale tonight on my shop. They have black and white patterns as well. But lots and lots of cute little shabby chic type of patterns also. So thank you guys so much for joining me on my channel. I will be back tomorrow to do part 2, which is, like I said, prepping of the signatures, choosing out my papers and stuff like that, and then sewing them into this journal cover here. And then the video after that will be decoration, etc. We go down the line. So thank you guys so much for joining me on today's video. I hope you learned something new. If not, I don't know. Thanks for joining me. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out. Bye.